Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I am going to be going over a teaching game that I played with my student. Now usually we play even games or one stone handicap games where he gets black and I get white. But since we both have a tournament coming up, and it's going to be a handicap tournament, we figured since we're both playing in it that we should play a handicap game to prepare for it. Because if we were to play in tournament, we would play at 5 stones. So yeah, so instead of a 1 stone handicap game today, I'm going to be reviewing a 5 stone game. So I am white, my student is black. Black plays large knights. It emphasizes the side more than the corner, as opposed to the regular knights response. Approach. You can approach from this side if white was to do something, and then maybe something like this. I'm not a huge fan of this because all of white stones are on one side of the board. My kind of handicap style, and you've probably seen this if you watch my handicap game series, is that I like to try to get around the board as quickly as possible. That's just my handicap philosophy. It's worked well for me. So that's why I play from this direction. And then invade the 3-3. One of my handicap kind of like, I don't know, guidelines is I always try to get 1 3-3 invasion in every handicap game. I don't know why, that's just kind of my style. I like the 3-3, so that's why I do it. So black gets Sente, so black can play anywhere black wants, and then black plays here. I think this is correct. Approach. And then black pincers. I think this pincer is okay. I'd rather see a kick first, and then a pincer like this. The low pincer is much better in this case. Because, well, let's talk about this variation first. When black plays here, black is actually threatening both sides, right? Like if white comes from this side, then black can play something like this. And black's shape is pretty solid here. And if white does something from this side, even black might choose this variation because black has this stone here. Yeah, even if black just does this, these two stones are just kind of floating, and this stone's actually in a pretty nice spot. So I'd rather like the kick first because it's right now this white stone has 3 options. It can run out into the center, it can go into the corner, or it can extend along the side. When black goes here, black's really not. White can still dive or jump into the corner. White can still jump, or white can even still dive and take the side. So this move actually isn't doing as much as black thinks it's doing. So I don't like this move. At least get rid of one of white's options and then pincer. Plus, the high pincer is not good. Black should just play the low pincer. Because, again, white can play this and has like a backdoor connection anytime. So this is black's first probably mistake in the game. The game, though, I attach. Play a very common Joseki. Black turns, which it's okay. Now here's a very important thing that black needs to do. Black needs to extend, and I'm sure he's seen this in professional games because one of the things that I always try to get him to do is look at professional games. And I'm sure he's seen this descent because basically it gives black better shape on the outside, and gives white less follow-ups in endgame. Whereas in the game, when black goes here, when white takes, notice, if we get into endgame, this Hane and turn is huge, right? So, and notice if black does this, black will actually be able to seal white in, and black actually has not lost any points. So this is a pretty bad move. White takes, and then black Ataris. White splits the left side. It's definitely the widest side, or the side that black can get the most from. And then I think this is pretty good timing. Black chooses this variation where it kind of gives white a choice. White can either take or take this stone. If white goes here, we can kind of expect something like this. But this variation in a game is not so good, because, especially in a handicap game, because this stone here is always going to be a ladder breaker pretty much. So it's going to be, so instead of playing the standard move that black could play, black could pretty confidently play this move. And because of this stone, this spacing here is a little uncomfortable for white. Like if white ignores, there's some really bad agi, whether black jumps in immediately or even dives, maybe even attaches. So there's lots of bad agi here. So that's why in the game, I just take the stone. I play this way. The only difference is if you go here and black goes here, white actually does not need to respond. White is already alive. Like if white goes elsewhere, if black takes here, white can take here. Or if black takes here, white can live. So that's the only difference. Once white goes here, though, it doesn't really make sense for white to ignore, because white has played this move. So yeah, but I think this is a good Joseki choice for black. Play my new favorite move. I try to play this move as much as possible whenever there's a large knight's enclosure. And I think in this case, black should just play here, because it keeps all of his stones connected, and white still has a weakness here, so white needs to protect somehow, maybe by going here. But even still, maybe there. You can see white has, if white can't get any use out of this wall, white has basically just sealed black in. So black should look for this move. And if white goes elsewhere, black can split. And this stone's going to get isolated very quickly. So black should play here. Black plays directly, but this leaves himself a weakness. So black should think about defense before offense, because white hanes and then attaches. Black plays here. It's a big spot to get. If white gets that move, black's kind of weak. But if black gets that move, and white's strong, but if black gets that move, white's weak here and black's pretty strong. But of course, I'm going to treat these stones lightly. And I just take this humongous hane. Question is, can black play there first? I'm not sure. He might be able to. Yeah, I think black should go here, because it's a pretty, once white goes here, white's shape is pretty good here. So yeah. And then black plays here. This move is not so good. Because one, you can just cut. So why peep when you can cut, right? But also, if white connects, notice black stone is right up against white. So this move actually becomes a bad exchange. So if black wanted to play anything, black should play a move like this. Because notice when white connects now, black stone isn't right up against white's wall or white's stones. So this stone has all its liberties. It's far away from white, but still attacking white. Like it's putting on the same amount of pressure, right? So this kind of move is very bad. Because again, if you can cut, just cut, but don't force your opponent to connect, where the connection is actually pretty weak, right? I'd rather it go here. This move's much better. Again, if white wants to try to connect, black is still attacking white, right? So black was thinking this was attacking white, but really when white connects, black is actually weakening himself. So this move's bad. Don't play this kind of move. Of course, this extension is also big. I was kind of expecting black to go here because the follow-up is pretty huge here. So if black was to go there, I was going to go here. And I was expecting maybe something like... something like this maybe. But black went here instead, so I got my extension. Black clamps. Takes a corner. And then attaches. So this attachment is actually very good. It's a very good move. So the point of this attachment is... we can see here that white is pretty much alive, right? So when your opponent is alive, you're not worried about them adding more stones if they're just going to get the same amount of points, right? Like, if white's going to get these points anyways, then playing moves out here isn't going to change the score. Like, isn't going to... or the points that white has. So for example... and this move is actually looking to attack this stone. So, like, let's say white hanes and black counter hanes. White needs to connect somehow, whether white Ataris first and then connects, or just connects. And then black can go to, like, pincer this. And this would be good for black. If white goes on this side, black can cut. And very similarly, even if something like this happens, black could still just come back and pincer. Treating these stones lightly, right? White's not gaining anything here. If white extends, maybe black can play a move like this. If white ignores, then black can play here. And this is kind of like what black is looking at. Because if white cuts, black can Atari through. So this move actually... or white needs to go here. But you can see it's going to be very painful for white. Now white is not alive. And black has reduced white's territory substantially. So... white would need to add a move, but then black can still pincer. So why is this exchange good? It's because if black tries to pincer immediately, there's this peep. And if black answers, white can then jump. And you can see without these exchanges here that black made, white's going to be able to attack black pretty strongly here. But by playing this first, notice no matter any of the variations I showed, whether it was this one, notice when white peeps, there's no connection here between these white stones, right? So black is kind of setting up defense by playing these moves. Right? There's nothing here that white can do to connect. So because black is splitting these stones from these white stones, this is very good. So this move is actually very good. It's a very good move. I haned, but then black extends. So I know my student knows what I'm about to tell him, so I don't know why he didn't do this, but when you attach, you double hane. Attach and double hane. That's the saying, right? That's what you should look for. So by attaching and your opponent hanes, you should always think to double hane. And I know he knows this, because what happens in the game is black actually gets heavy, because when black goes here, white jumps, or white extends, and you can see when black tries to pincer now, these exchanges have actually become very bad for black. So this move is very bad. In the game, black needed to add a move, but then white got to extend anyways. So all black has done is given black weak stones to worry about potentially. So this extension here is not good. Always remember, if you attach and your opponent hanes, double hane. Always double hane. Never do this extension here. Black plays a very center-oriented move, which this move's pretty good actually. I was not expecting this in the game. I was expecting maybe like something like, I don't know. What was I thinking? Maybe something like this. This is what I was expecting. But when he went here, I was like, oh wow. You know, you can directly see black is trying to build this lower left area right here. Of course, white stands, and then I jump. And then black pincers. Again, I don't know why black is so scared of playing this kick first. And then pincering. Like, I don't understand why black is so apprehensive about playing this kicking move. Me and him, we've talked about it before. And we've talked about how it's a good move, so I don't know why he doesn't play it. Again, when you play this, white still has two options, right? White can still jump out, or white can dive or even take the corner. But when you kick and then pincer, notice the only direction white can run is this direction. White only has one direction to choose. And if you can control the direction your opponent has to run, that's generally good for you, because that means you're controlling the game. So this move's a pretty bad move. Plus, it's super by itself. It's pretty over concentrated from this stone, right? Like if this stone was on the third line, I bet black would not have played this pincer, but only because this stone's on the fourth line, black played this pincer. So I jump. Black still doesn't want to kick white by going here. But after this move, white can still either come this way by attaching or dive into the corner. So this move's, it's a big move, but it's probably gote, especially in a handicap game. So of course I jump here. I'm still looking at this upper left group. So that's why I played this. Black makes this exchange and peep. These moves are not super great for black because black played these stones to be light, right? But after this exchange, black has made these stones very heavy, because if white can get this peep, black's shape is not good here. Plus, white has a knight's move here. Later, black might be able to cut here and then kind of give white a choice. Like if white goes here, black can then Atari from this side and seal white in. So this move's, I'm not a fan of this move. It feels very vulgar and ajikeshi because it's just forcing white to connect. And I don't know what these exchanges have done for black. It's kind of like this situation over here. Black comes down, crawls. Going back though, I think I need to do this one first. I got too caught up in the upper left area. If black plays something like this, notice my follow-up is pretty huge here. But then I've already reduced black here, so then I can jump here still. But you'll see in the game, black actually gets to seal this in. Black turns, cover, Atari, extend down. So white wins this liberty race, but black gets forcing moves on the outside. And again, black isn't losing anything here because white's having to fill in his own territory. This move is not a good move because this is just a co-threat. Like, black can play this anytime, so there's no reason to play it now. And then black seals white in. So black's actually doing pretty well so far, even though it does feel like a lot of black's moves, at least in the past like dozen moves, have not been good. It's still looking pretty good for black in this game. And when we've played handicap games in the past or in tournament or whatever, me and my student, he seems to do pretty well. I think it might be because we play so often that he kind of gets my style, or he knows he can predict what kind of moves I'm going to play. But yeah, like, even though when I was playing, it feels like black was not playing like the best moves all the time, he's still like in a good position, you know, heading like pretty much in the middle of the middle game. So, you know, I was kind of like asking myself, how am I going to win this game? And it wasn't, you know, sometimes it's easier to answer that question of how am I going to win this game, but in this game it's like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Peep here just to see how black answers. Black plays strongly here by bumping, hane, and then cut. So black has actually protected the cut. So I just leave it and I peep. Now I can actually save this stone because if I Atari and then extend, of course I can't save these stones. If I Atari this way and then connect, I still cannot save the stones. However, I can play this one. But if black goes here and I try to push through and then Atari, it looks like black cannot connect because I can capture, but black can actually play here and it would be a snapback. So because of that, that doesn't work either. However, this is one of the cases where order of moves is important. Where after this move, if I play here now, notice if black connects, then I can push through, and these stones are in Atari. So black needs to play this, but then I can connect. But because this is Gote, this, this wouldn't be, white can't do this right now because of this Atari. Also, black cannot do this one because white can Atari here, and yeah, that wouldn't be good for black. So for the meantime, I just leave it as co-threats, as, I don't know, yeah, basically as co-threats. Peep into connect. Again, peep first because maybe it'll help a fight here, having this stone here, which it actually ends up helping. Black plays here, which I think is a good move. Extend, play here, and black connects. Fix my shape, and then black tries to push through. So this is a pretty calm, like black could have been way more aggressive, but like black's territorial gain in the right is pretty huge in and of itself. So even though black, you know, lets white get good shape here, black's gain here is pretty big. Black tries to push through, and then I played this move. This is kind of like an asking move. What does black want to do? Because black has many choices here. Black can actually fight this if black wants to, and cut. And it would be pretty. The fight would be pretty good for black, I think. There's not really much white can do here because white doesn't have that many liberties. But where this changes is that white doesn't need to play from there. White can play something like this. And this would be, it'd probably still be good for black because white's weak here, but I felt like I was behind, or I knew I was behind, so I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just like connect just like be satisfied with connecting. So I tried playing here. I think black can just come through and cut. Maybe even just going here. Yeah, it's pretty difficult for white because these string of stones don't even have 2 eyes yet. So black should have been thinking to be on the offensive. In the game, black plays here, only thinking about being on the defensive. Now, I know earlier in the review I said, you know, black was only thinking about offense as opposed to defense. But in this case, black was only thinking about defense and not offense. So black should have, well, he might have thought about this, but, you know, he needs to be confident in his reading. And just to see that, oh, black has so many stones here and white's connection is thin here. Black really needs to try to do something about this. Black goes here. Pretty slow move. And then I jump up. Pushes, cuts, or threatens to cut, and then now he attaches. But because he's already spent 1 move here, the value of this move has gone down because white already got the benefit from this move. If we like change the order of moves, it's like black went there, and then black made this exchange and then went here. Right, this move doesn't make sense. Atari, and then black comes back. So now you can see now white's actually connected here. And this move's important, of course, because white can jump in and black's probably not alive. If you're curious about the life and death, I'll leave it to you, the viewer, to figure out if black's alive here or not. All I know is that this is pretty dangerous for black. So, especially if black's ahead, you know, just playing calmly and living is good enough for black. So now white attaches. Black plays pretty... that move's okay, I guess. I'd rather want to do this because it prompts a white response, right? Because black's taking away a liberty. And if white extends up, then black can play here and take out all of white's shape. If white clamps, even if black just Ataris, right, this is pretty bad for white. But by going here, you can see white goes here and then plays here. You can see white's shape is pretty good here, actually. Then black plays this knight's move. I think it's okay. Black's really trying his hardest not to attack this group. He's playing all the softest moves. Like, why not a clamp? Right? Even if white can connect, I don't think white can make any eyes locally. This move's just going after these 2 stones, whereas black could have gone after like the whole group. So of course I crawl, and then black surrounds again. Still doesn't want to clamp to take away the eye, but plays here. So black's saying, if I can get this, even though you can live by haneing, I have enough to win, which I actually do agree with. Black, this area right here is pretty huge, which is why earlier I wish I had gotten this clamp here, because that would have meant black's territory would have been up to only here. But now it's at least 12 points more or more. Hane, just to see how black answers. And black, again, plays very passively. And this, again, this is a trend I see a lot in my students' games, is he'll have a lead. And because he has a lead, you know, his opponents are trying to, like, claw back into the game. And he'll just give up a couple points here and there, and then by the end of the game, he loses by a couple points because he just keeps playing soft moves. So I don't know why black doesn't just hane or extend, right? You're connected here. And this, like, the point of the stone was to, like, threaten this cut, right? So, like, I don't know what black is worried about here. I don't know if, yeah, like, what can white do? Nothing locally. So this is a very bad move because, again, it's, you know, it reduces black's center by a lot by playing softly here. So black needs to have gone here. I did not Hane, or did I? No, okay, so now I play here. All those sequences I was showing before apply here. Black just connects though, which is the softest answer because white just goes here. And then black Hanes, which is a big move, but I'm still looking at the top side, so I actually poke at black's shape here. And so the question is, can black live? Turns out that'll be left unanswered because in the game black plays here. So I'm like, okay, I'll just play here and surround this group. And I'll get to the life and death of this group in a second, but black is basically, he told me after the game, like, he said that he was willing to give up these stones as long as he can take the bottom, which if he can kill the bottom, it is, even though this is a crazy sacrifice, it is, you know, 10th line, it would be like a territory this big almost, or more like this, but still. That would be pretty big, but black needs to kill this. But black goes here, kind of saying, oh, white's already dead. However, white plays here. Hane, and then extends down. So the question is, can white or can black kill white? So if black goes here, white can just come down like this and white's alive. If black goes here, white can play here. No, if, let's see. White can go, if black goes there, white can go here. And even though black can cut here, we can see that actually, yeah, wait, is black, no, that still kills actually. Huh, does this move work? Huh. What was I seeing in the game? We played this game over a week ago, almost. Yeah, so it's hard to... It would at least be ko if white went here. Actually, no, this wouldn't be ko. This would... Okay, so this would just be alive. Okay, so this is the move. Black extends up. When white goes here, white's gonna make Miai out of playing this one and this one. Or this one and this one. Yeah. So I think that's correct. Life and death is one of my weakest points, so if you see something different than me, please leave a comment, because yeah, again, I need to work on my life and death as well, so any tips or reading errors, please let me know. But yeah, so that doesn't work, I think. So in the game, black goes here, but I can still just go here, and then I'm gonna threaten making an eye, 2 eyes on the bottom, or an eye here. So black goes here, and then white Hanes, and then black resigns because, you know, he gave up this to kill this, but now since white's alive here and white can get this, it's white definitely wins this game. However, black probably just assumed this was alive, but black has a lot of Aji here. There's a lot of Aji here. For starters, if black goes here, this moves Sente, right? If white takes out the eye, it would be a ko. So black could at least get a ko. So, like, if black did this, let's say now, like, black would have a ton of ko threats, right? Against this group. It would be a two-step ko, but it would be enough for black to win the game if black can live here and take the center. But white doesn't need to play this ko. White can just block here, and you can see if black tries to make the eye, white can falsify it. However, this exchange here is very good for black because now black can descend down. And threatening an eye here, right? But if white answers, black can then maybe not do that. Just Hane. And then Atari. And then black again would get a ko, but this time the ko would be for taking out the corner as well. So really black was not dead here the whole time because of this move. Like this ko would be way too big. Plus even if like black has local threats too, right? So this would be a very hard ko for white to win because black can even let's see, is that one better, or is, play something like this as ko threats and stuff like that. So really black dropped the ball here. He didn't look at any of the aji there. He just kind of assumed that black was dead there, but there's so much aji. Yeah, it all starts with this move. And instead black tried to kill this, and then like white went here, black could do that right now. And it's kind of funny because I put this game in the AI, and this is where my student resigned once white played this move. The AI had the game at 60-40 white. So white has a 60% chance of winning and black has a 40% chance. So black resigned when it was still like a playable game because, of course, the AI saw that this group has a ton of aji, which he did not. So yeah, big missed opportunity. Like, even though this lived, black could have still made a ko here, which again could have gotten black back into the game. But again, overall, his handicap style, while it is it's not even unorthodox. It is unorthodox, but it's kind of strange. It's like a mix of old style and new style. He doesn't play a lot of handicap games either, so that might be part of it. But yeah, definitely all the moves that black makes, they eventually all work together. So that's all that matters, right? Is that the end goal is what matters. So definitely an interesting game. The tournament that we are playing in is in about a month, so we'll probably play at least one or two more handicap teaching games. So expect those coming up. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. And I will see you in the next one.